mentally feel like Kobe, I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me, I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili, from young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats, circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's the reach. We ready? Who ready?
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the One on One Sports Show. Appreciate y'all for joining us one more week. Everybody say, I was like, what happened to Mr. Bennett? So, yeah, I know I missed last week, and I wasn't even able to check out the show. I was out on vacation. We went on a little cruise, so I had to do a little quick getaway.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, I had to do a little quick getaway. So, trying to pull up the... So, basically, I know we are in heavy now, I guess, with the NBA season. Well, just basketball, period. Whether people follow the NBA or the college basketball season, regular season is starting to wind down. I don't know if it's next week where the conference tournaments will begin. Dante said he'll be in here. He's been a little bit late. And he sent me over some topics that I thought would be pretty good to talk about.
Sure.
Basically, football first. And one of them, I know we spoke about it in the past, and I don't know if we ever spoke about it for a prolonged period of time, but the whole Bears quarterback situation going on up there with the whole Justin Fields. And I know during the season there were many people that believed the Bears should have kept Fields. And, the whole thing about, if the Bears keep Fields in that fifth-year option, there's going to be like over $23 million they have to pay him.
Right.
Compared to, starting fresh with a younger QB, first overall pick, and it'd be a cheaper contract. And in this case, pretty much speaking about Caleb Williams. Well, I know during the season there was rumors and stuff that Williams was saying that he, Chicago was not his preferred place. It was rumors, but I don't think they ever came from Caleb.
Right.
And recently, I forgot who was interviewing him, but Williams came out and said that so Justin Fields was on a podcast, and I forgot which podcast he was on, but in the podcast he made a comment about he's a LeBron guy over a Jordan guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Caleb Williams was doing his interview, of course in Chicago that kind of rubbed some people the wrong way because Jordan is deity up there.
Right.
So when Williams got on the podcast, he said he's more of a Jordan guy. Well, he gave him with a triple header. He's more of a Jordan guy over LeBron. He's also a Walter Payton guy. And finally, I think the sugar on top, he's a deep dish pizza guy. So how Chicago. So now the rumors now everybody say, oh, okay, he'll be fine with coming to Chicago and all that. And it's like, Chicago, like, oh, well, I guess that'll be our first pick. Because, there's, rumors about he don't want to be there, but now it looks like he wants to be there. So, it's going to be, you pretty much know that Justin Fields is pretty much going to be on his way out anyway.
Right.
I think anybody who wanted Fields to stay with Chicago wasn't really looking at the bigger picture at all. They were just basically, how fans be. They think of emotions the majority of the time. And all the signs just are there from an organizational standpoint where you can start over with a more higher, I don't want to say profile, basically a higher prospect. Caleb Williams coming out of college was a higher prospect than Fields. And he's cheaper. Fields, you still don't know what you're going to get. And it may be more, related to Chicago than him. Because I believe whoever Fields go to next, as long as it's a capable organization, he will flourish.
Right.
But cause remember, Chicago got a whole lot of baggage too, because they
They do.
already
Yeah.
went through this with all these high draft picks they passed on, and people are always reminding them they passed on potentially Patrick Mahomes. They passed on quarterbacks of the last year's draft, whether it was Young or Stroud. They passed on at one time the number 2 overall pick. They picked Mitchell Trubisky. So
Right.
they already have this that they fan base just keeps bringing in their face. Now they got a chance for another number overall pick with incoming quarterback who's highly profiled. They say, okay, man, we can't. We can, I think if they draft Caleb Williams and it does not work out, it'll be easier for the GM to explain that. Whether they keep Fields, Caleb Williams go to another team, flourishes, and you back in, that could be almost a fireable offense for that GM to the point where you don't know if you'll get another GM job. You just be a director of scout personnel or something like that. This is how it's gonna go, cause So, but what are y'all thoughts about it? I see Trey over there look like he holding in fire in his bones. So go ahead, Trey. What you
Trey.
got?
Listen, fellas, it doesn't matter who they draft. They don't work on their offensive line. It doesn't matter who they draft. They can draft Williams. And I'm going to tell you like this. Y'all think New York is hard to play in? Playing in Chicago is one of the hardest places to play. They scrutinize you on the news, in the streets, at the job, everywhere you go, they talking about Chicago sports. And it 9 times out of 10 is bad. If it ain't hockey and it's football and basketball, you are getting scrutinized from day one. And they can get Williams. Let's say they get him. And they don't address that offensive line, they're going to be winning 2 and 3 games anyway. It ain't going to matter. I think, and if you look at Chicago, they don't really invest in their players at all. Once players' contracts come up, Jay Cutler was the last player that they gave a big contract to. They had no problems giving him almost $200 million. No problem. They never even, well, we don't know. They gave it to him. Every brother that comes up to this point, and I get it, Justin Fields has struggled at sometimes, but sometimes he looks good. But if they don't address that line, they don't address their immediate needs, Chicago go win 2 games next year and the year after that. It don't matter what quarterback they have because he ain't going to be able to survive back there. So that's my take. I lived in Chicago, and this is all they talk about from training camp to the end of the season. The newscasters, that's all they talk about, how bad the Bears are every time they lose. So address that offensive line. It don't matter what quarterback you put in there at that point. There's a lot of good prospects coming out. I would use that to address both sides of the ball, like trade it. Give me all you got. If you want a team that want this number 1 pick, we need everybody. We need 7, 8 players for this one player and some compensation. Then you can make a deal. Other than that, they're going to be right back here next year talking about, man, we should have kept Justin. What we going to do? Because this is going to happen, believe me. They don't address the offensive line, same thing.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to move on from Fields. Unfortunately, because again, I don't think he's to Trey's point. I don't think he's necessarily had the resources. Certainly not at the line. Now they have 2 first-round picks. They have pick number 1 and pick number 9. This is also a very deep draft for tackles and centers in particular. Because I know the Steelers. It looks like their first 2 picks might be on the O-line. So, there's certainly different resources out there. So if Caleb does go number 1, really the question for me is what they're going to do with that pick number 9. Because again, you have a lot of O linemen and centers in this draft. So really that's going to tell me how serious they are with wanting to change this thing around if they're going to spend that second pick, or are they going to try to go for a splash player like Marvin Harrison if he's there. I don't know if he's going to be there at 9, but I think that has to be their next step if they want to be serious about it. Is to definitely address the line play, as Trey said.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at it. I mean, how long Fields already been quarterback for them for 3 years?
3 years, and the GM has been there. This brother, he's been there since 2022, so he's going into his third year as GM. So obviously, I don't know if he was there when Fields got drafted. I mean, he might have came in the year after, but certainly that I don't know if that
Yeah, I
relationship
believe he was
had a chance to blossom.
previously commissioner of the Big Ten. I believe he was previously. I think he was. I think he was previously the commissioner of the Big Ten before he became GM of the Bears.
But also, his how many offensive coordinators has he had?
Well, I think he had three. I believe he had three. But and then last year they just basically they just damn near almost cleaned house besides the head coach. So it's
Bro.
yeah, because coming into this season, people was actually believing that Fields was going to have put himself somewhere, in the MVP conversation at some point of the season. How he finished year two. That's what I was hearing, with some Bears fans, because he did finish year two on the upswing. So it was like, okay, year three, he's gonna be continuing his almost how like Trevor Lawrence did last year. Trevor Lawrence did the same thing that first year after Urban Meyer, and then both of them kind of started going down their third season. So, but with Fields, even more with Lawrence, Fields just looked like he just at one point it just looked like he just totally regressed. His skills just regressed, and then again, and towards as the regular season went on, he plateaued and started going up a little bit. But it just looks like, man, I mean that's like with the Bears, they seen 3 years of that, and it was basically just mediocre quarterback play.
Right. Yeah, but it's even longer than that, though. They've had 8 in the last 10 years. Since 2010, they've had 8 coordinators, offensive coordinators.
Yeah, they have no stability over there.
So that's a culture problem. That's not just player personnel. That's a culture. So I wouldn't blame Caleb if he was like, yeah, they're not going to be my first choice, because I think culture is important. And even though they got the new GM in there, I don't know how much of that he can clean out. But to your earlier point, 3 in the last 3 years, 8 overall. I mean, I can't see anybody want to, how Chicago could be a desired destination for anybody.
That's why I believe if Fields go to everybody keep bringing up Atlanta, but if Fields goes to a team, a better organization, I think you immediately will start seeing him flourish. I think if I was Fields, I guess you want to, if I was him, I was like, okay, if y'all want to move me, that's fine. Just move it to a place that has more sense, I guess, when it comes to football decision making. And Fields' career should regain and go up. I don't think he's a fit with Chicago based on like the front office stuff, that they've been having. They just have no stability over there. And I always believe where a quarterback gets drafted, that could literally make or break his career. So with Fields, it don't look like it's working out in Chicago. Well, I believe the faster he could get out of Chicago, he could salvage and regain his career. I believe if he stays in Chicago, you basically just going to see the same thing you saw the first 3 years. Caleb Williams, it remains to be seen if he's the one they draft. If they'll get a coaching staff that's more stable with him. So it remains. But with Fields, he didn't get that. That's unfortunate for Fields.
Right.
So go to a new organization where they can build around you and just have stability, and it could be. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe Pittsburgh will be looking at him.
Well, hey, look, we're one of the front runners. I know I heard Atlanta because he's from there. But again, you just got rid of you have a new head coach coming in. So again, you have changeover in the organization. You don't know what that situation is like. I think with the Steelers, I think they, fact that Arthur Smith is there now, I think you have they're definitely going to emphasize the running game. Like I said, in the first 3 rounds, they're going for at least 2 offensive linemen. It's more than likely a center and a tackle in the first 2 or 3 rounds. and then also a defensive back. So yeah, so that would be an ideal. The only thing is like, will the Steelers want to pick up that option? But I think it's like I think 25 mil. Like he'll be cheap against the cap this year. Like he won't cost hardly anything. But I think if they pick him up for next year, then I think it's like $23 million or something to that effect. They'd have to pick up. They'd have to eat. But again, it depends on how well he plays. But at the same time, they're still somehow committed to Kenny Pickett. Want to give him all the advantages going into next year. I don't get it, but
they believe Arthur Smith could probably work some magic with Pickett.
Yeah, but they're not going to give him a high draft. Now, if Chicago's willing to give him for a 3, I think that's that's an offer they can't refuse. A 2, you're flirting with it, but definitely a 3, I think they would pull the trigger on that.
But when you look at Chicago, listen, Chicago hasn't had a quality coach since Lovie Smith.
Facts.
He had a winning record and they let him go. They don't have the coaches that are even, it don't seem like the coaches are even invested in the quarterback at Chicago. These guys that they choose to be their coach, I don't even know who their ass is until they damn the head coach. And they never invested. I haven't seen, even Nagy, you're a fucking offensive coordinator. You're not invested in your quarterback. That should be your right-hand guy. You look at, hell, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady seemed like they was best friends when they was winning. At least they invested in the quarterback. They support the quarterback. You got to sort of, as an offensive coach-minded coach, your quarterback is your right pocket. He's the man that you talking to on Sundays during the offseason. Hey, man, what you doing? You throwing the ball? Listen, I thought about this. You have to give them that support, especially a young quarterback who they're putting in these positions to play immediately. Nico Ryan, he's invested in his quarterback. He shows that he supports his quarterback. Right. No doubt. So the quarterback's confidence is going to go up. And Justin Fields said, hey, look, he's ready for this shit to be over. Y'all keep talking about it. Y'all don't talk about that shit about Mac Jones. He ain't did shit. He had one good season. He ain't did nothing. He could possibly be out in New England when his time is up. But if you're going to support him, then I think his timing and everything will pick up once his confidence. I don't think he has the confidence because he hasn't had the support. Shit, they was doubting even drafting him. I think if he goes to a team where they support him, I think he'll be all right because I don't see too many quarterbacks better than him. You can look at the record and say, yeah, but half these dudes are trash anyway. Shit. So why not? Take a chance.
Well, you brought up the point about a relationship between a coach, a head coach, and his quarterback. Well, we can. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that if we look at one combo in the AFC West with Peyton and Russell Wilson, I don't think they got any type of relationship. They just, I heard on the sports radio one time that the way that Sean Payton came into that season, it looked like that you remember, because Sean Payton was on TV before taking that gig.
Right.
And because you remember the first season with Russell Wilson in Denver, and it was Nathaniel Hackett as their head coach. All of a sudden you hear Russell Wilson having an office and all of this stuff. Like he was he was doing too much, when he first got to Denver. And Sean Payton was hearing that. Sean Payton is basically an old school coach.
Yeah.
And I believe he started developing his ideas, his opinions of whatnot about Russell Wilson before he even met him.
Right.
So, when you hear that and you see that from the outside, and all of a sudden, Peyton is a quarterback that he wants things to go his way if he's a head coach. He see that from the outside, so like, okay, if I'm the head coach of this job, I'm nipping all this at the butt. He's not gonna get anyone close to this with me. Without really developing a relationship, he almost came in the Broncos organization on fire when it came to Russell Wilson. Instead of be like, okay, establish a relationship with your QB, and hey, we got to change some of this. He just came, no, bam, 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 and then whenever Wilson made a mistake, he was quick to jump on him on the sideline Of course, everybody know that one chew out he had on Wilson on the sideline,
Right.
and
Yeah.
so the relationship between them two, and then of course he benched them for a quarterback, and Wilson did not play that bad last year.
No. I think he probably had like 26 touchdowns and 6 interceptions or something today. I mean, I thought
I
he
heard that he never had a season in his career that he threw over 13 interceptions.
right.
So turnovers have never been his issue.
Right. No, I thought I listened to his interview. He was on I Am Athlete early in the week. So I saw that, and so I thought he certainly, I think he acquitted himself well. That's another name people have rumored about that may land with the Steelers because he's willing to take vet minimum money, because I think Denver still, if they let him go, they're still going to pay him like something like 35-40 million. So he's still going to get that. So he said he'd be willing to take the vet minimum to be in another situation. So again, so that's another attractive spot. And he seems like he's in good shape, even though I think he's like 35, 36 years old. But I think that I thought he acquitted himself well, in that interview. So I definitely think teams will certainly be looking at him. And those people were talking about he might be out of football next year, but he could very well land in a place like Pittsburgh. So it's between him and Fields. I think Fields is like the moonshot. I think Wilson could certainly be had. And I think he certainly brings a certain leadership. That will him and Tomlin get along? At that, I'm not sure, but certainly.
I think Wilson and Tomlin.
I thought that interview was definitely an audition, just like these guys are in Indianapolis right now for the combine doing their interviews. I think that was like an interview to the league. They're saying I'm still that dude. If you put me in the right situation, then I think I can help you. So I was pretty impressed by it.
Only thing I see with Russell Wilson, maybe his time that he's already been in the league could play against him because he's been in the league over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Pittsburgh it just seems like what the coach they have and the stability that Pittsburgh normally ride with, because they still ride with players that most teams wouldn't even deem to be starters. I think that both could thrive, because I think Mike Tomlin would give them that support needed, and he wouldn't be on the media talking about this and talk about that goes on in the locker room. I think he's one of the better coaches that do it.
Right. Plus he's from the DMV, so
yeah. With Russell Wilson, I think he was being a little devilish, when he got to Denver. He wasn't. I think he didn't have his locker room with the other players. You can't establish nothing with that. I think, as a coach, you can do it. What the hell this dude think he is sitting over here? You know what I'm saying? I just think that, Russell Wilson just go out and play. And if people forget, remember when he sort of like snapped the tendon in his finger?
Finger.
That takes a lot to start getting that little feeling back where you can actually throw that ball the same as you was doing, because he was a little different his first year. Soon as when he came back off that injury, to me, his balls were sort of lofty. They wasn't, hitting the target as well as they were before, even though he has a ball that seems to go up higher than most. But it was a little different. I think he'll come back with a little bit more vigor, a little bit more determination. I think he'll be all right. No matter where he goes, I think Russell Wilson, if he takes on the team concept, I think he'll be okay. Yeah, because a lot of teams.
Y'all saw him shave his head, right?
He done shaved off that good hair.
He joined the network for a minute, so I got my eyes on him. Came in with that shaved head, so it's like rebirth. So hey,
he gained some new superpowers.
That's it. Now it's like Sam's. He's going to grow his hair back and then become, get his strength back, or whatever. So he's humbling himself and get himself straight. But
once a player is released by one team, it makes it easier for other teams to release him. So he already been released or whatnot, or traded from Seattle.
Right.
Then Denver was just basically release him. Whatever they come up to, whatever agreement on the contract and whatnot.
Right.
Well, I think I heard Peyton say he would like to have it done by next week. Sometime soon.
Yeah.
Peyton want to get him out of there. Peyton want to get him out of there, man. So I'm like, damn, But I don't think if he ends up in Pittsburgh, I already know Tomlin's going to develop establish a relationship with him. I'm not worried about that. He's going to get if Tomlin agrees to have him come to Pittsburgh to be his potential QB, he's going to give him the opportunity.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be up to Wilson to go through with it. You know,
Yeah.
so that part, I don't think he's going to take the same path as Peyton did. He's going to give him a fair shot.
Right.
He can do all his players. And if you don't perform, then you don't perform. And he's going to be right there on the bench. Pickett will be starting again. And Pickett, I believe, is right now the starter because I think he's the only quarterback they have on the roster, I believe. I think they got
Well, again, Rudolph is technically he's still there on the roster. He is looking at options outside, but no one's necessarily coming hard at him yet. So again, and that's what happened last time. He went on the market before, but no one came back. So he came back to Pittsburgh. So I think that's ultimately going to dictate that situation.
But fellas, think about it. Why is it that the only players that look like us get this type of scrutiny? Rudolph hasn't even done anything since he started taking them. What I'm saying is, look at Mac Jones. Mac Jones ain't did shit. Whole time he been a starter, and they ain't said nothing about we gotta get rid of him.
With Mac Jones,
they signed him to a bigger contract. They signed him, and they didn't say nothing. And what did he do? He played a few games. Then they think he got hurt this year. He had the same type of performances. Giants wasn't nothing. So, I mean, I don't know. You got a Super Bowl winning quarterback. At least give him the respect. And if Denver's going to let him go and walk with $35 million, then he can still go sign with somebody else. I don't know. If I was him, I wouldn't worry. He's going to be all right wherever he goes, to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just my opinion. I don't know. It's a whole lot of quarterbacks that are not as good as Russell Wilson, and you don't hear nothing.
I believe Russell Wilson, he should be you can't name me 31 starting quarterbacks that's better than Wilson right now.
Oh, you can't name me half that.
10, only about 10.
10, I might, maybe, but definitely top 15, definitely top half of the league. 10, you might be at the bottom 10. I'd have to give it some thought, but
he's 15. You put 10 in front of him.
Definitely top 15. Yeah, top 10. I'd have to look at that a little easier. What's going on, Dante?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Doing all right. Good to see you.
No, we were just talking about the relationship between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, or lack thereof, and basically Wilson pretty much got his name already out the door. He's saying he wouldn't mind staying in Denver, but Sean Payton not going to have any of that. He want him gone. So we were just trying to see what potential place will be a good landing spot for Wilson. And I believe I was saying that there's not 31 other starting quarterbacks better than Wilson. So unless a team, there's teams that already have their quarterbacks. If you go down the league, there's teams already have their quarterbacks, whether they're an established vet or a young, exciting quarterback. Then there's other teams who can use the services of Russell Wilson, but they may be like, we want to try our luck with the draft. They just want to start fresh, because Russell Wilson now is basically going to be looking like, he damn near a bridge quarterback. He almost, not there yet, but he damn near. And but I still think there's some teams out there that can use his services, especially if a team is looking to win now. Like we was talking about, Pittsburgh is one of them. I think the Jets could potentially be, but it's Aaron Rodgers, so scratch them off. I'm trying to think. I'm just putting this out there, but it's never going to happen because they already have a quarterback. But a franchise like Dallas, because they ready to win now, if they swap with Dak. But there you probably swapping one.
But Dak for Russell, for Wilson.
Well, I'm just missing teams that's out there that, because it's conversations down here with Cowboys is Dak and his contract. Because him and his agent, I forgot his agent's name, but he did a hell of a job negotiating his last contract. So basically, the Cowboys' hands are tied. They can't trade him because he has a no-trade clause. They can't release him because it's going to be like a $50+ million dead cap hit and whatnot.
Right.
Then so he's going to get that 60 that he looking for from them. So it depends if they. I really don't know how they can, if the sides can split. But if you swap them, you basically probably trade one problem with another problem. So I was just trying to think of a franchise that is ready to win now that Wilson can provide his services to, because other
Well,
than
again,
that,
It would take somebody that's desperate, somebody that hasn't been winning. And I honestly, I'm with you, Johnny. As big as the cap hit is and the financials, if you could find a team that needs a quarterback and wants to win, but also realizes with his age and with the fact that he hasn't set the world on fire the last few years, I would get a guy and go back to the sit 'em theory. I would find a guy that was just like, look, maybe you didn't get the most snaps in college, or maybe you did get a good amount, but you still going to be behind an established vet, and there's nothing wrong with you sitting. Like I've heard people say, even though he won the Heisman Trophy, I mean, he did come from not the best program in Arizona State with Jaden Daniels. Then went to LSU and had 2 years, but it was, as a guy, some people feel like should sit and wait a little bit. I know for a fact teams that floated out there, Caleb Williams, he might need to sit just because he got 3 years, but only 2 full years as a starter.
then what you mentioned, Dante Russell, that's making Wilson a bridge QB.
He's a bridge QB. You just
That's a
don't want to
bridge
say it
QB.
because of the salary and what you've seen. But
Yeah.
most bridge QBs were really good at one point, and then it's just
Mhm.
like not so much anymore.
Once
And
you
at
get
this
released
point,
now, it's easy to release it.
and at this point, it's kind of like this. You might have to be successful with him. You might have to go back to what he was in the beginning of the Seattle days. But sometimes it happens when your quarterback gets older and it's like, yeah, I can't do it like I used to, just like a basketball player. I need extra. Like somebody said this about interesting thing about KD. They was like, hey man, look how old he is. Yeah, he want to play with other guys because he old. He can't carry that load like that anymore. So
Right.
Russell Wilson, you might have to be like, hey, let's get this running game. Let's get this. Only problem is, hey, bro, you make this big bag, so you make that harder to do. So
But
Like I, like I said, he's willing. Go ahead, Trey.
they did raise the salary cap about 30 million, I think.
they
this
did.
year. So you
They,
got more
they,
room to
they,
negotiate
they
now.
did, but people, especially here locally, still have a problem with that getting that money. I'm like, they keep
Dak, get
raising
all
the
that
cap.
shit.
They keep
Get all
raising
that
the
money.
cap. So
Get all the money. Every black quarterback,
know,
get all that money. I don't care who you are. Get all that money, Dak. He's
so
won the
I
top
give
5
props to
every
him and his
year.
agent, man. They played that
Just
shit
because they're winning the
perfectly.
playoffs, he's won the top 5 every year in the NFL. How does he not deserve his money? He deserves all that.
And
Everything
but you said, Shawty, back to what you said about him being an agent. They thought they had a sucker because you got a guy in the 4th round. And he had a little local agent. A year before it was contract time, he went to the big agent, and it was just like when he did that, I was like, oh, he's not playing. It's just like, look,
Well,
I got a shot at this, and I'm going to capitalize and maximize my opportunity. And he did it. So it's like it
Well,
is
all
just
of this is still
crazy.
the Cowboys' fault. All of this, the Cowboys made this happen. It would have never happened if they would have gave Dak a contract
In the
before he
beginning.
had that one good season where he said, okay, because they tried. I remember he had, here I forgot what exactly year, but he had a season. They could have negotiated his contract right there, but they didn't.
2018.
They wanted to wait. Yeah,
After the
2018.
2018 year. Yeah, because
Then
that's
I think
3 years. Because 16,
2019 he
17,
started off
18.
hot.
He
He
blew
started
up.
off
Yeah.
hot. So they was trying to negotiate then. He was like, "Nah, we're gonna wait." And like at that moment, you screwed up. You should have when you had a chance to when you had a
Or
chance to
yeah,
sign him. Nah, they didn't. They screwed
or
up.
at least in after 19 they should have gave it to him. And it's just like for as much as they want to have business savvy, it's just like y'all get worked in deals. Yeah, absolutely. The only deal that you won on that just ended was the Tyrus Smith deal. That's the only deal that you can look back that they really you can say they won on. Even the Jalen Smith one, where it was just like, okay, that's gonna be a good value, but then you paid him, and then the guy knew he couldn't play no more, so he got you. So it's like you've lost every deal. So why not just pay him early and get ahead of it? Because that's just it doesn't make any sense. But I know I'm jumping in later. Did y'all talk about the basically the tea leaves of what's going on with the Falcons in that interview that Raheem Morris did?
Mm-mm.
I think I saw the headline. I didn't get deep into it. You want to elaborate?
Man, so he's basically, because you can only do things a certain way. He basically said they exploring every avenue for a quarterback. They said it has to be someone that can connect with the city, which we all know what that means when he said connect with the city. This is the city of Atlanta. So, if you get a quarterback that it can ignite that place like a Vic did, not saying you're anybody's Michael Vick, but if you can come in and take that mantle and come in and do things and be involved in the community, and you obviously have a skill set and you still have to win. And also, he basically, long story short, he basically said that if they had better quarterback play, he wouldn't have the job. And I said, oh my gosh. He's making it clearly known that, hey, we're looking for a quarterback. And I think it's smart if they go after Fields, because you can look at what he was, describing. If they go after a guy like Fields with the offensive weapons they have, then you can use your first round pick instead of, oh, we got to, get a quarterback that we're going to get the third guy, because I think they're picking in the top 10, but maybe like eight. That's not going to, those top guys are going to be there, and then you have to mortgage your future to sell all those picks. Why not take a second day pick and go after a Fields? Like, I think that's not a bad option, because it looks like the Bears, they kind of, it seems like they're like, hey, they're kind of tipping their hand that, yeah, they're gonna go ahead and take, probably Caleb Williams or Drake May. You never know. They could be like, hey, they could be a Drake May type of
I
team.
don't
Who
really know
knows?
nothing about Drake, man.
Yeah, man, I didn't get enough. To be honest, how NFL has the where you can watch the games and everything like that. You can, buy those packages. I don't really know of anything like that for college football to like watch guys. And then it's like every time I hear about people that scout guys, they're watching maybe TV copies, or maybe they have a connection with college and they watch it. I would love to have one and just kind of watch it a little bit, just to kind of see. So that should be able to get fit. I would say, yeah, you always shoot lower, okay? But yeah, I would say definitely you could get them for a second rounder. I would say that the Bears should be happy with that, because I know they're gonna want another a top end pick just to help build their team and help with their plan. But I know I would offer him, it's the two as a max. I would offer him. I would even try to do it conditionally, because it's like, look, you're clearly gonna get another guy, so you don't have the most leverage in the world, even though it is a quarterback.
That makes sense.
I trade the number one pick if I was Chicago. I'll go
Mm.
get 8 players for the number one pick. Who's gonna give me 8? 6? Give me 6 and some money, and we can world. That's all I'm saying.
Trey, I'm with you, but as the more it goes on and the more I think about it, especially for Ryan Poles as the GM, if you pass on this guy and he's really good, I mean, I don't even know if you're gonna be able to get a cup of coffee. I don't think you're gonna be able to be an errand boy for a front office again. Like, that's
Hey,
gonna be like, this is the guy that passed on him.
Dante, wasn't Ron Poles, was he the former commissioner of Big Ten?
Hmm.
That's
I
been
gotta
that.
look that up, because it's
I don't
his
think
name.
so. I just
I
looked
don't
him.
think
I
that's
just looked
him.
him up. I didn't see that he was Big
Oh,
Ten.
okay,
They
okay.
didn't list it in his bio.
There was one GM that used to be. Oh, he was the executive director of player personnel with the Chiefs, and he did a pretty decent job of building that squad. So he's a new GM, so it's remained to be all that turnover was the previous GM tenure with the Bears. Only thing that happened last year, because I don't know how the coaches staff, they just kept letting themselves in trouble. It wasn't football
Yeah.
related neither. They was off the field, like, I don't know what the hell they had going on in their personal lives, but that's why they was having all these turnover. So it wasn't football related. But but yeah, I think Mr. Bennett brought up you brought up one point about the combine, and that was one story Dante brought up earlier to me. Sort of the well, I guess you could say former Ohio State receiver Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
So Dante, you were saying to me that he opted out of the combine.
Hmm.
He does not want to do a pro day, and he
Yeah.
has no agent.
Yeah.
Like, how the
He's
hell he
going
gonna
on.
get his name out to the to
Well,
the teams? They
he,
not putting nothing on.
and
Well, I
that's
guess
the
the
and that's the
tape, I
thing.
guess.
If you play for a big national program in Ohio State, he has a famous father, so you can't say is that he doesn't have any insight about the game. And then basically at this point, if you bring in a contract lawyer, and I mean, and everything's slotted, he really only needs somebody for marketing. If you look at it at that point, the only other problem is by the time he gets to that second contract, at some point, either the first contract or the second, I do think it's good to have an agent just to kind of help guide you through it. But he's a guy that I got somebody that can help guide me through it. And it's not well, it seems so long. It seems like not that long to us, but you know you're getting older. It's like, dang, Marvin Harrison already has a son in the NFL.
Right.
So it's just like, I mean, he was drafted in '96. So so it's like, yeah, he can help guide him through the process. It's just that if you've done as much as he's done, he was talked about as being draftable as a sophomore. So when you get to that point, I'm not mad at those guys not doing that and doing the rigmarole and hey, we got to go and do this, we got to do that. If you can, sit it out, and everybody else can go because if you want to know if it's his speed, pretty sure they timed him at Ohio State and they can tell you they as big as the school that is, they can tell you, hey, what does he run legitimately? And they
Right.
can tell him, hey. And then you've seen him on tape because basically, like we said, we love the combine, but all you need, it's work for them. All it is can confirm if he goes and runs in a 4.4, it's like, yeah, I can see that. Just like we
Right.
said on Amari Cooper, it's like, it's a guy that you don't think of as a burner, but he gets out there, it's like, damn. And like you don't really catch him and he gets away. So I don't have a problem with it. And like somebody mentioned this, and I know this is Trey Ferguson, this is right up your alley with NIL. It's like, hey, I'm already sitting on some money. So what if I fall a few slots?
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't have to do this stuff I don't want to. You still gonna want me. I'm still gonna go and do my official visit at your facility for the teams that I know are gonna give me. And it's kind of a little bit like Deion Sanders did. Team called them. They was like, "Where you drafting? Fifth? Oh no, you picked too low. I'm not even gonna meet with you. Why am I meeting with you? I'm not going that low." It's almost that theory where it's like, why be here with these 31 teams and only one's gonna pick me and they're in the top. I think he's going the lowest is fifth. And that's just probably quarterbacks that'll be the first three. So it may go fourth.
Yeah, you like I said. I think I said last time. Combine usually, if you're in that sort of that low middle tier, low first round, or going into the second round, I think you can certainly change your stock about your stock and hopefully improve it by going into it. It's not for the elites. The guys who are already like these are the guys who sat out the senior. They didn't play in the Senior Bowl. They didn't even play a lot of these guys. They didn't even play in the championship games. Or bowl games when they were still in college. So, and I think that's going to be a trend that's going to continue, especially with the NIL money. So, I think for those guys, yeah, if you're projected to be a top 10 pick, then I could definitely see a lot more of those guys sitting it out the whole process. They even had they may have a pro day, but if that, I can't see them really doing too much. So, look, you can look at my film and then you make a decision from there.
I got a prime example of a guy that he went to UTSA, which is a part of the UT system, and they play some good football. He's a guy from my hometown, Tyreek Woolen. He went to the combine 6'4", 205. He went and ran a 4.26. So that's where you go in. And when I heard him, I was like, oh, he's from the crib. I was like, he's running like that. And now he's gone and been a Pro Bowl player. And that's the perfect example.
I wanted him bad because I think he went like in the fourth round, I think.
Fifth. He went in the fifth round, 10th overall.
He was there to be had. I saw those numbers. Then I saw on one of the draft talk shows they were talking about him. The only thing is the fact that I think he did play for a relatively small school, and I guess didn't have as much exposure. But he's definitely playing with Seattle. But I do my man Najee, both Najee and my other quarterback. I think they kind of face planted him or whatever. But you can't teach that size nor speed.
Yeah, because it's hard. Normally, you don't see the 6'4" corner being fluid. Because I know back in the day, it was just like that's how it was going to automatically put him at safety. But the way guys are freakish now and get quick twitch, you can do that now. You can do it.
You have to be big and fit. I mean, Joey Porter Jr. with the Steelers, he's 6'3". Some of those.
Speaking of being older, oh man, to think about it, like. I saw your dad play, so it's just like that's when it finally makes you be like, yo, you are getting older. It's like I remember seeing his dad like play a lot, like not just a little kid. Like, hey, I remember him talking trash to the Patriots and stuff, and the Super Bowl.
The Steelers in particular, they actually look at that. They put a high premium on pedigree. If your dad played ball in the league, especially if your dad played ball for them, then they're definitely going to be checking. They're definitely going to be checking you out. That's just one of those Mike Tomlin things. He just really believes in that.
That was Talking about Joey Porter Jr. son?
Joey Porter Jr.
Porter's
Yeah,
son.
but also remember they had the Watt brothers. I mean, they had one
Yeah.
of the Watt brothers was with Pittsburgh also. So they like I said, they definitely put a premium on. You know, if you have pedigree in the league, if you have league experience, if you grew up in that environment, then they definitely take a look at you.
Yeah, the Watt brothers, if they have some kids, people gonna be looking at them like the Matthews family.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Two of them, and the other one he just decided to play fullback, which is a position that don't get any attention.
Right.
But two of them can possibly already put their names as possibly the greatest defensive ends ever.
Right.
You know, so TJ he just keeps getting robbed and whatnot. He probably have more trophies in his trophy case.
Right.
But
Actually, you just mentioned something, Sean. I was thinking about this not too long ago, and now you just brought it up to my attention again. What happened to the fullback?
I know.
I let Trey answer that. I was the coach, because I think
You're talking about a
Yeah,
position that's basically been
offensive
exited
spread
out of the
now.
NFL. I mean, that big Tom Rathman, that
What
or the guy who played
49ers?
for you guys, the Cowboys, all those years.
Moose Johnson, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
believe
With
that
that
Cowboys are
the neck roll era. You know what I'm talking about. The neck
Cowboys are
roll.
using the fullback now. I know 49ers and the Ravens, I believe they use they best with the fullbacks. But as far as I can remember, I think right now mainly them three teams that I regularly
but
see
the
using the
position
fullback.
is kind of been phased out of football.
Yeah.
Trey, I don't know
Well,
if you have some insight on that.
I don't know, Dre. Tell me if I'm off base here. If you talk about a fullback, like sometimes when teams do this, it frustrates me because it's kind of like if you want to run the ball in a situation and you come in and you say, okay, let me get my big tight ends because all he does is block. My third tight end, all he does is block. Maybe got a little athleticism. You bring in somebody to come in and be like a fullback, and you're telling the team you're going to run. The best thing to do is run a play action, just dump it. But when you do it and you run it, and they get their big guys, or we get our big guys, more than likely you're giving your keys away. So it feels like a lot of times they say instead of telling on ourselves and doing that, and fullbacks are now probably what linebackers, because they got enough athleticism and they don't, bulk up as much. So it's just like we're gonna go to like the single back. And even went back with Adrian Peterson, he did not like one of the greatest ever. He didn't like a fullback. And you got guys where backs didn't mesh with them, so you give them what they like, and then you have less guys, and then you instead of that other tight end, you put another receiver on the field because basically your starting offense and starting defense is nickel, is the third corner. That's basically a starter. And I feel like that once we went to that, the fullback is just a no man's land. So if you're in that skill set, maybe you're a short yardage back or maybe you're a linebacker, and you just you got to change. And that's what I feel like that happened probably in like the mid 2000s.
Fullback, if you look at it, is now the quarterback. He's getting you those 1 to 2 yards. They found a way to sort of fake, because remember, the fullback, he was going to get you those tough 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, 1st and goal, inside the 2. Now you can just give it to the quarterback keeper up the middle. They're going to push it. I don't know how long this method is going to last as far as the quarterback, because I see some changes because anybody stop the Eagles with it. Everybody else can't do it like the Eagles for some reason. I don't know.
Right.
But they got what's the
They don't have
players?
a quarterback who can squat.
They have
600
a quarterback who can squat 600, and the people on their line they play like Jordan Mailata. He played rugby. They play rugby, so like they get in that stance, and it's just like you can't stop that.
We'll see what happens now since Kelsey retired. So we'll see if he, who they replace him at center.
Yeah,
So.
Please stay retired.
I hope they bring back the fullback, but again, those that I ain't necessarily say played the game, but that's paying the players to play the game, they love the spread offense. It's all about the spread, run up the points. They think a game 13 to 14 is boring, but those are some of the best football games for people who really understand the game. They want to see 35, 40 points a game today, which really takes away the opportunity for a fullback to get you those pound town runs. So I don't know. I play running back, so give me a fullback. Don't take me a fullback out, but sometimes you need that 240, somebody that can get you those tough 2 yards, than jeopardizing your running back or your quarterback out there. Because most of those guys today are not built for that. Derrick Henry, he's one of the last few that can take that. But even him, he ain't doing too many things up running up the middle. He's off tackle,
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see what the fullback's future holds.
I see Tommy B, he mentioned spread offense. KP brought up the fact that, you know, fullback was replaced by a faster player like a slot receiver, a small running back. Now you see teams more with these dual running backs. Cowboys did it with who was the best? I think the Giants started that whole thunder and lightning with who was their running back tandem that was pretty successful. Brandon Jacobs. And
Tommy B, what's good?
I forgot who was the lightning of that duo, but
For
yeah,
which team is this now?
the Giants when they had
Oh, you talking about the Giants
thunder
when
and
they
lightning. It was
had
Brandon
Brandon
Jacobs.
Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw, I think,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
So
I
they,
don't know. I don't know
they
if
was thunder and
that's like
lightning.
thunder and more thunder.
Man,
Man wasn't
like
small.
Brandon Jacobs was so hard. It was like, man, I hated playing them Giants teams. Golly, it's just
Yeah,
like
I was just big and bigger.
he just get going downfield, and it was just like,
But
oh
that's
well,
the way teams are built. Like Derrick Henry is
a unicorn.
yeah,
Yeah,
but Derrick Henry, I believe, McCaffrey is a better third down back than Henry because of his ability to catch the ball outfield. But both of them are three down backs. Henry's a 4 down back basically. You just keep him on the field at all times. I think
right.
he's the last workhorse of the NFL. Alvin Kamara was a 3rd down back, but he been sliding.
It's 21 hours.
But a lot
Yeah.
of teams now go to this dual.
Right.
Josh Jacobs is a 3 down back.
Right.
But just a lot of teams now. Oh, that was what I wanted to talk about with y'all. We talked about it in the past, but you seeing it again this off season. Now that we're talking about these running backs and whatnot, and how a lot of teams are using these dual running backs, the value of a running back again is being shown that it is not worth anything. Right now, you have Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
I believe I forgot. The Giants are not gonna. I don't
They're
think
not
they're
gonna bring him
I
back.
don't
They're
think
not
they're
gonna
gonna
tag him.
franchise him again.
They're not gonna-
Last
they're
year
not
they
gonna
franchised
franchise
him for like 12. Yeah,
But you got.
and I think he was
you have-
12 million last year. I think was his tag.
Yeah, somebody brought up, hell, just give him one more year, 1 more million, give him 13 and get him happy so you can at least have him for 1 more year. I think because you got Derrick Henry who's a free agent, but he had his second contract.
Yeah, he
McCaffrey
played his
had
entire
second
contract.
But a
He's
lot
in
of
his
them
second
can
contract.
barely get there. They can barely get there. They keep getting franchised and whatnot. And I'm like, damn, right now the NFL. They showing you, and I understand though. I understand why the running back position is just devalued because there's too much available in the draft.
Yeah.
And it seems like once they get that potential second contract, they production just slide. I mean, it's just.
I understand it.
Well,
I just
well,
don't
certainly
like it
the-
of squeezing out a position like that on the money side when they make probably their contract in parking. So it's just like I just don't really like it. I feel like you can draft a guy and pay him and maybe not keep the mileage off him. Because my thing is when you get a quarterback, and obviously it's a different position, so it's like you put more on them, they can play more. But do you not give them pieces to help make their life easier, even if
Right.
you're paying them? Do you not give them a defense? Do you not primarily give them offensive weapons? Like you had Josh Allen didn't get to this level of this new contract until Diggs got there. You got Diggs got there, and they took a guy named Dawson Knox, who's a really quality tight end. But then also they took Dalton Kincaid. They drafted the big guy from what's it LSU? It's, the Torrance, Osiris Torrance, or was it? No, he's from Florida. He's from Florida. He came from like a school in Louisiana. Excuse me. So you're drafting things to make his life easier. Why not do things like you said, Trey Fur? Maybe give him a running back and give him a lead blocker every now and again. And a lead blocker is cheap. Make sure his line is right. Have another back behind him that maybe he's not taking all of his carries, but keeping his workload. So, hey, man, it's a blowout. Or, hey, we send you out this series. This one isn't it. you can make it happen and make so much money. So I don't care for it. I understand the salary cap, but at this point, the Saints have never had cap money, and they just always make some magic happen. So with the salary cap, it can be it's a radio broadcast here. Chris on he says it all the time. It's fungible. You can flip it. It's accounting. Get some people creative enough and make it happen and pay those guys. You can make what happen whatever you want because
Right.
what's the worst investment? What the Giants did in taking Saquon number 2, bringing him back to relevance, being a really good back for him, or taking Daniel Jones at 6. You know he's not really the guy. Has one kind of good year. You give him all this money, and now they could be left holding the bag with 85 million, which is worse. Which is absolutely worse.
Obviously, the latter. Totally.
And it's
Right.
so you I can so Sonny, I feel you on playing it both ways, and I know it would be cool if the Cowboys went after Saquon Barkley, but I know after they paid Zeke, I think his dead money still might be there, and after they paid Tony Pollard and franchised him, even though it was only 10 million, I don't think they're going to get into the running back waters of paying big money anymore. So I
Right.
think they are going to
Well,
definitely
if
take
you
a
look
young
at the
guy.
draft stock now, I definitely don't think you're gonna have a running back chosen in the first round. So you talk about second, low
Mhm.
second, maybe early third rounds where you may have a run on running backs, but no one is worth a first rounder at this point. So you want
And
to, I think
and the
that's where the
best,
real
yeah.
devaluation is.
Yeah, and the best back in the draft is coming off of ACL surgery.
Yeah.
I didn't know, as a Texas fan, I didn't know. I saw him look really good, but the draft evaluator was like, yeah, Jonathan Brooks. A lot of people had him as their best running back, and so it's just like, so that hurts the position right after you had Bijan Robinson. And I'm glad Arthur Smith is gone because the games he played, it's like I
Man,
know some people that had
don't get me started on that
Bijan.
dude. I
Oh
had
my
Bijan in my
bad,
fantasy
I
squad, man.
forgot.
That dude
Oh
pissed me off
man,
so much. I don't know what Smith was doing. It's just I thought Bijan was hurt. One carry. I'm like, what the hell going on? It just I don't know, man.
Man, some of the stuff is rigged, fellas. It's rigged. It's set up like it. You're an offensive coordinator, and if you understand football, and you got a top running back, regardless of his college, man, he's supposed to get no less than 20 carries a game. No less.
yeah.
No less. If you expect a win, especially late in the season when that weather change and you outside and it's 10 degrees, you need a damn running game. That's one of the things that's going to keep you successful.
I mean, it
Even if
changed the game for the 49ers. I was being real.
That's what
They've
Mr.
been
Bennett.
trying with
Y'all
them
gonna
other
have to worry
guys.
about that now. Y'all gonna have to worry
Yeah,
about
Well, they
but
ran
Arthur
away.
Smith
The
and his
thing
play
is, I
calling.
mean, they ran away from the running game. I mean, they possibly could have won if they kept running the ball, but they went away from it in the second half. Same
And this,
same thing with the Detroit. If they would have kept the ball on the ground, they would
Oh
have beat
yeah.
San Francisco. So I mean, you kill them in the first half, and you go away from it. So yeah,
They blame
it's
that on analytics. I don't know
yeah.
why
that's
they
the
listen to
problem.
I don't know why they listen to analytics like Mr. Bennett. If it's working, hell, run, especially in the playoffs. Let's do or
but,
die. Run
but
that
Johnny,
fast until they stop it. Prove you can
Johnny,
stop it. We're just gonna kill you with it.
I'm gonna say it like this: analytics are important, but there does come a time where the eye test in the feel of a game, the footballness of it, where it's just like that. Now, I mark that gut feeling. Sometimes you gotta go with
If
that,
you see a
and I think
running
you
game working
gotta
for
have
a
it both.
whole,
Right.
you are dominating the first half running the ball.
Yeah.
Second half, continue to do that. Don't start throwing the
Until they
ball.
stop it.
Damn the
You know,
analytics. Hell, fire the analytics guy if he tell you to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Fire him right on the
We all
spot.
know about the Patriots Atlanta Super Bowl. I mean, come on now, you're up 28-3. You can't
And
find a
what's
way to
his
keep
name?
it
They're
on the.
still living that to this day. They
You
still
fighting the
getting on that
time.
to
You
this
fighting the clock. You're literally playing the clock, and almost not the opponent.
Mhm.
football is down and
Uh,
distance. It's down and distance. Down and distance. Down and distance. That's it. You play the. You gotta listen, man. I'd rather run a screenplay. Something you stick with what's working. You don't change it until they can stop it.
Mhm.
But when you start going against what's getting you the upper hand, you're setting your team up to lose. You're setting your team up to lose. I don't care. We've seen it time and time again, all the years of football. The teams that can successfully, you ain't gotta have 100 yards rushing a game. But if you can run that ball 20 times, be able to put in your play action fake sometime in that 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4, you got a shot to win. You got a shot to win. As long as you don't
That was the Ravens versus the Chiefs. In case of the Lions, they was just bludgeoning the 49ers to run.
Yeah, they were tired.
There
They
was
were
no
waiting. Yeah.
there was no reason for them to throw that ball. They was averaging like almost over 7 yards a carry. Nah,
Right.
it's
Yes.
you
But you
run
can tell
that
definitely
ball.
tell in the fourth quarter, those guys were gassed. Those guys were gassed for
I
sure.
was like, man,
Well,
I don't know why they changed that.
hey, it's all set up, man.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah.
set up. Tell me
Hold on.
that.
I want to ask a few questions for the ones in the chat. So Tommy B, I want to ask you. I see you proponent for the Raiders to get Justin Fields. If y'all don't get him, who y'all want to get as quarterback? And let me see, KP. I see you got a lot going on in here. Man, I'll give you this, KP. We agree on a lot. I like the way you think on a lot of stuff, man. I'm with you. He said he worked for the Chiefs, but like, yeah, I was gonna ask some of you. Nah, and what you said about the running backs getting paid anymore, I think they're gonna phase it out for the most part. And the only way there's only one that it all falls on my boy from Texas, Bijan. It falls on Bijan, and I want to say it's gonna take like 3 to 5 backs to really break the mold to where you can see that Bijan Robinson got picked as a first round player, and in a place like Atlanta, where it's not just gonna go crazy, it's not the biggest market. It's a big market for other stuff with sports, not so much, not pro sports. But if he's successful and they give him a second deal and they do it to where instead of waiting for the 5th year option thing, you give him the extension after the 3rd year, you basically feel like you're gonna give him an extension. You give it to him, roll it into the 5th year option, and then you're rolling and he has success into the second contract. And some of these guys they get taken this year if they're successful. But it also depends on somebody that's already in the league. If Christian McCaffrey can break that mold to where he's the age into which it's like this is where you start to see the drop. So if he can have a good year, and Saquon Barkley is a guy that after all the injuries, if he gets drafted, signed out of free agency, and change the game for a team's offense because he's able to make things happen in the run game and the pass game and still have the explosive plays. All right, it's 17 games. Can you play 14 of them? Can you reasonably and finish 14 games or the bulk of 14 games? And I think if you get that, you'll get some changes going because let's be real, they paying these receivers a lot. Tommy
Oh
B,
yeah.
what's going on, brother?
What's good, sir?
Shit, what's going on, y'all?
It's all good, man. Good to see you, man.
It's all good, man.
Definitely
So,
disagree with y'all on the 49ers, man. Excellent game plan. Enjoyed the game. Wonderful. Wonderful game plan.
I mean, Tommy, we agree on that. Right? I do not like that team. I was very pleased with that. I'm with you on that.
I got family members still want to fight me, and I'm open for it.
Hey, it's funny because I see one of my good Facebook friends. He was going at some people that had talked about him that was Cowboy fans. He's a big time Cowboy hater, and he was showing like Taylor Swift been more of the Super Bowls than the Cowboys recently. And I was like, "Dang man, you beefing on February?" He's like, "I was coming back at them." And my whole thing rebuttal is, look, they keep talking about us, even though we trash irrelevant. Y'all keep making it to the Super Bowl and losing, and they still won't give y'all a shine. How does that? I don't know how that makes you feel. You won a Super Bowl in '94. We won in '95. We in the same boat. You just keep going and losing.
That's what's funny, but the funniest part is these motherfuckers have been on the quest for 6 for 30 years. And I don't know if y'all remember that first Super Bowl they went to. The whole thing was we only get the Super Bowls to win because they was 5-0. Three losses later, you don't hear that shit no more.
Yeah.
Well,
so Tommy, so what's your QB situation? And I guess Garoppolo's tended to go back, or is the slate clean, or what's your cap situation?
Nah,
Like,
Garoppolo about to get up out of there, but what we need is the Bears to go ahead and just come up off of Justin Fields. We got a hot 4th rounder for you. You feel me? I heard they was looking at Jaden Daniels possibly.
I go for a 4th, man.
Hey, look, they gonna draft the quarterback anyway. They got to get rid of him.
I understand, but I don't think that I don't think they're gonna. I said 3rd round. Now, if it's 3rd round, I think the Steelers might be in play for that one. But
man, my boy, he ain't trying to get my boy Max Crosby the ball. I'm like, nah, man, we ain't let y'all get Khalil, man. We ain't going down that aisle no more. But I heard they was possibly looking at Jaden Daniels. If he's available, I'm not sure if he will be. I mean, if they were going after him, now they would have to make a trade to go up or whatever. But I mean, Aaron O'Connell did, I think, as best as he could, but I don't think anybody's expecting him to be a franchise quarterback. So Um, I mean, I guess we'll see how it go. I'm not exactly sure how the card's going to fall. I've been seeing, as far as with the draft, consistently I've been seeing a offensive lineman with the first round pick, so a tackle.
Mhm.
So I've also heard possibly Kirk Cousins because he's out there. I just saw about Josh Jacobs that they gonna be trying to do a contract with him. They're not gonna franchise him, but they definitely gonna try to re-sign him. Um, so I mean, we'll see how that go. But if we don't, we still got Zamir's. So I mean, we it's not gonna be a total loss. But I mean, I fuck with Josh. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. You know, the defense looked really good after AP took over. So
Right.
if we get a decent defensive tackle, that'd be nice. Um, I think that's probably maybe one more pass rusher. And I think we're pretty solid on defense.
Right.
The
What
corners
about
play pretty
Russ?
well.
What
Huh?
about what about Russell? What about Wilson? Would you take
Oh my God,
if he
bro.
was able to come in for vet minimum? Like you say, y'all not too much different from us. So again, if he's willing to come in, he's going to get paid from Denver regardless. He's going to get like 40, 45 million from Denver. Comes in, takes that vet minimum. Would you ride for him for 2 years until you find somebody?
I mean, it's kind of like one of those things. Like if you don't have a choice, I guess. You know, I wouldn't cry about it because it ain't like he's the
Sierra
worst.
would love it. Sierra in Vegas,
Oh yeah.
they would love it up there.
Yeah. I just man, it's just like looking at Rush the last couple of years, man. It's just hard. You know what I'm saying? Just he's had a hard past couple of years. So, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Last year, I kind of don't count because I think Sean Payton was on bullshit. Like
Yeah,
I don't even like. He's lucky he was dealing with Russell Wilson, not somebody else, because I'd have beat his
right,
ass.
for sure.
Like
Yeah,
straight
But
up, the
Tom,
way he was coming at him, it
yeah,
would it have just been hands.
right.
Tommy,
So
I mentioned that in the beginning of the show because Peyton was in the media before getting the Denver gig, and that first year with Russell in Denver garners a whole lot of negative attention for Russell Wilson. And I stated that I believe Peyton heard that, he saw that, and in his mind, well, if he say, if he ever became the coach of the Denver Broncos, he's going to check all of that. He's just going to come in all that. He came in basically with a chip on his shoulder against Russell Wilson instead of establishing that relationship that a head coach and a quarterback supposed to have. So he came in with an agenda trying to deprogram everything he heard of Russell Wilson in his short tenure with Denver. And I believe if Wilson go to a team like the Raiders, even though Antonio Pierce has only been an interim coach for the Raiders, and this is his first head coach with the title, he is still respected as a leader of men. And I believe so. Pierce, I believe, will. And I was saying the same thing about Tomlin in Pittsburgh. If he gets Wilson, he's going to He's going to do it the right way. Establish a connection with his quarterback to let Wilson feel comfortable, and then just go from there. It just always looked like Wilson had to climb up a hill because he wasn't playing that bad last year. But I know Sean Payton could be a hard coach to play for. He's very hard on his quarterbacks. But it just looked like whenever Wilson made a mistake, Payton was just waiting to snap at him. I'm like, damn, dude.
yeah,
That's why
last year wasn't hard, bro. Last year he was just being a complete utter dick.
Yeah,
But also I would have to hold Russ accountable. All that bullshit he on gotta go. The my own
exactly.
office shit. The you don't even fucking connect. Like when you got a player like Beast Mode who is respected and regarded around the league as a teammate, pretty much say, yeah, I ain't really fuck with blood. Like you's a sucker. Like you really you on sucker time. Straight the fuck up. You know
Tommy
what I'm
B.
saying? And beast mode is the type, like, I mean, where we from, we don't really hold our tongue. So when he said it, I believed everything he said because, like he said, like, that stuck up, I'm a quarterback shit. Like, I, I'm actually surprised that that team performed that well because, as we know, on a team, when you're dealing with grown men and you come in with an ego like that, that's the fastest way to get people looking at you crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, he had that defense to hold him down or whatever. But bro, when they're going to the coach and the coach is telling them that everybody else on the team can be held accountable, but don't talk to him, it's like, bro, you on some other shit. You know what I'm saying? So I think maybe the last 2 years has probably humbled him to a point to where he can't even hold himself to that regard. But I think also I don't know if he fits our offense because I think he's more of a dink and dunker, and that's not really our offense. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to get that ball down the field. You know what I'm saying? And we got some guys that can fly, and I don't know if him just being able to just dink and dunk is gonna do it. But I mean, if that's the only option we got, you know, I can't knock it because, like I said, Aiden O'Connell, I think he did the best job that he can do. I think he'll be a solid backup in his career, you know. But I don't think anybody expected him to come in and be a Tom Brady type. So
he's already been in the league over 10 years. Now, my thing is this: Russell Wilson is in the situation he's in. One, because yes, he came in with the mindset that like, I'm better than the rest of y'all, which is wrong when you come into a new team. He should have embraced the team in the locker room, get to know the guys, and they could have changed, been a different dynamic. But will we be talking like this about Russell Wilson if Seattle would have won 2 Super Bowls, and this is a 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback? Because how many other quarterbacks in the league today have won a Super Bowl since Russell Wilson has been in the league? Today, that are still in the league.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. I respect his work. It's not his work that I have a problem with. The boy, he balled out. My problem with him is when you find, like, when I hear stories about Peyton Manning kicking it with the kicker, and this nigga got the audacity to say you can come by my office. Like, nigga, who do you think you are? Like, that's insane to me. When your running back is coming to you after a bad game and saying, I got your back, you feel me? And if I have a bad game, just have me, and you looking at him like, you know, like when your running back can't even get your phone number, you called the nigga from a restricted number. Like, blood, who you think you is?
He's a diva. It's a diva.
But when I'm saying you can, but hold on, this is the problem. This is the problem. You can be a diva as a wide receiver because generally you aren't the leader of a team. When you're looked at as the leader of a team, how are you going to literally separate yourself from guys and like you said, look down on guys and act as if you're better than, and then especially on top of when I can literally look at quarterbacks that are certified Hall of Famers that smoke your career that don't act like that. That's more down to earth than that. Then that really gets you on a how dare you?
They not with Sierra.
Tommy not lying because I know we got to get in the final thoughts, but from the perspective, a lot of in Cowboy, like in Cowboy fandom, a lot of people realize, hey man, Tony was in 2016 was a better quarterback than Dak, but Dak was a 4th-round pick, so he knew the rookies. He went in and talked to the defensive guys. Tony was one of them guys. If you remember, he was on them trips with the coach and Jason Witten, and he was above guys. He really was above reproach. And then when it got time to get it going, he had like a dinner, and they was just like, "What you doing? That time is over." It was basically like, "Nah, this is his team now." And it's like you lost the locker room because you're not connecting with guys. And if you, like you said, Tom, you made a hell of a point. You got less of a career than other guys. You literally, basically, I think, ruined his chances at the Hall now because it doesn't help that your teammates didn't like you and your play hasn't been sustained long enough. And so it's like he got
9 Pro Bowls and a Super Bowl title. I think he's in there.
Yeah, I think he's solidified for the Hall.
Yeah. Man, you know what? When I think about it, he had the one that first year there was bad. Last year wasn't. I do think he gets it. I say it with. I'm thinking the voters. I'm thinking the voters, but I know for me he is. But the voters, they get the voters. They piss me off sometimes. I don't want to.
No, did you see that I Am Athlete interview with Russell this week?
Oh, I ain't even caught that one yet.
Yeah,
I seen the
check
clip
it
when he
out.
was
Check it
talking
out.
about the
I
Suns,
think
but yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
I think he's been humbled a bit. I mean, like I said, I think that was basically his interview to the league, saying, "Look, I can still be valuable to a team or whatever." But it's worth checking out if you get a chance to.
Mhm.
So it looks like
Yeah, I need to check that. I need to check that one out too.
Yeah.
so
No.
it looks like we coming up with our final thoughts of the
Yes,
show.
sir.
So hell, I really don't really have no. Well, I
I
guess
got some final thoughts.
you go ahead, Trey. You can start. I really
No,
don't have that
listen,
on my mind now.
listen, we didn't talk about it, but the hot topic in it's a
I already know.
sports related issue is the Cam Newton
I knew it.
that he had. You
Yeah,
know what
we
I'm
should
saying?
lead. Actually, that should be. We should lead with that.
Yeah,
We should lead with that
I'm
next
just
week.
saying. So
That's
yeah, let's
so
leave that
funny.
out there.
if we could show the footage of that, hell, that would be
Yeah.
even better.
I'll say this: every brother out there that's up for a contract extension, I hope you get all the money you deserve, brothers. Because if that was me and my sons, hell, I'd be fighting for you to get all them crumbs. So get all that money. My thing is continue to just work and be better as a football player. Connect with your teammates because they the ones that's gonna play for you. And everything else, man, just leave it on the table, man. Stay out of the YouTube street. Stop listening to us as criticizers and all that. Just play the game to the best of your ability, and hopefully you can get your money. They did raise the salary cap $30 million, so it's now room for a lot of people to start getting that money. If you a guy that wants to play football, don't fucking play running back. Everybody that's running back, switch your position. Do something, because if they're going to devalue the running back, it's just going to be a passing league. So learn how to catch if you can't catch. Learn how to throw if you can throw, block, whatever. But running back, they're going to start filling receivers in to play running back, which means I already start seeing. So everybody get their money. Shout out to Mississippi State, Dak Prescott, get all your damn money. I'm with you. If you need an agent, Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm here. I can be your agent. We're going to get that money, and we're going to rock out.
Yeah, you gotta relax, Trey Ferg, man. My running back up for a contract, man. We can't be breaking the bank on him, big dog.
Tommy's trying to get deals. I'm like, they're trying to get
You
deals.
feel me? He's
That's
talking
a
about I
deal
want
for
everybody to
me.
get their
I
money,
feel
man. We
you.
trying to get this running back situation together, man. Come on, help me out.
So Tommy was the dude in franchise mode. I had a boy like that. He out there giving them we used to call them the rapper lock contracts, man. And them they used to be offering teams them terrible deals and getting rejected. Tommy was trying to get
Oh, hell yeah. That's supposed to be all
all-star
in the red. You
for a
bend it
second round
anyway.
pick. Oh man. I'm with Mr. Biddy. You got anything before we cut out of here, man?
Yeah. So again, combine for real starts tomorrow. Starts tomorrow morning. I mean, actually in the afternoon. I think this is the first time they're doing it. It's like 3 p.m. this afternoon. Most of the time Saturday at 1, but tomorrow is defensive linemen and linebackers. Definitely I'll be checking that out. And just upcoming on the fight card again next week, next Saturday, you have Anthony Joshua fighting Francis Ngannou. It should be Joshua's to win, but Ngannou, he's a fighter, so anything can happen. And again, Anthony Joshua really doesn't have a chin, so if he gets caught, he can get got. So so that's something I'm going to be following. And when I see that fight, I'll definitely report on it when we get back. But definitely next week, yeah, we should definitely talk about the Cam Newton situation and just just that kind of situation overall, because that was totally ridiculous.
Yeah, now that y'all brought up that Cam Newton, I had some thoughts about that, but yeah, we talk about that next week, because it's more like on the troubling side of it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
because I want to see
we'll
what
get to
I
it
want to
next
see. I
week.
know Cam on his show is going to talk about it. So by that time, we'll have what happened. The guy that was involved with it, he already spoke about it immediately. And then Cam will have it. So it'll be good to kind of recap that
Yeah.
and rehash on that. So
Scary thing was he wasn't even trying that hard.
and
Could
some footage of
you imagine if Cam was angry though? The Cam was angry.
some
He was
footage
just
is
throwing
out there.
dudes.
Well, I guess I have my final. I didn't have them, but my final thoughts. I guess I just see what Andre posted about. I guess he was saying that I don't think Russell gonna go to the Hall of Fame. I'm trying to see what exactly
what
he was
up,
saying.
Andre?
He's saying he should have played baseball or football.
Yeah, he was a multi sports star. He wanted to play football because he would have been a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's a whole lot
Right.
more
Yeah.
notoriety than,
He's basically saying he's definitely a bona fide Hall of Famer for real. So,
Well,
I would certainly agree with
his
that.
Seattle days, yes, that's when the whole let Russ cook days. That's when he was airing it out. I know Tommy was mentioning that he looked like he may be a dink and dunk, but I think if you put him in the offense with air it out, Russell can do that. 'Cause that's what he
Yeah.
was doing in Seattle. That was the let Russ cook days, and I think Denver is just different. That whole situation in Denver is just, I don't know. I mean, you play with Nathaniel Hackett, and I approve between Nathaniel Hackett and Matt Canada. I don't even know which OC you'd rather have as far as person calling your play calls. I mean, it's just throw. I mean, I'm not no NFL coach, so I can't speak up for but just comparing to their contemporaries, those I don't know. So, but yeah, I think I got a Hall of Fame for Russ. He has the stats, but it's clearly all with Seattle. And like I mentioned, if he's going to get released by Denver. He already got traded for Seattle. Once a team releases you, it's going to make it easier for another team to release you. And if he keeps going down that path where he gets released and he's not performing like he did in Seattle, I think that can ultimately push him out the whole Hall of Fame reality. Because unless you're just gonna solely look at his Seattle days,
it's gonna be the Seattle days.
Looking at everything
Seattle
afterwards.
Been to two Super Bowls, won a Super Bowl, and his winning record overall.
I got one even better than that they like to do to prop it up. He was Walter Payton Man of the Year, and they really want that to mean something. If you notice, the last couple ones that have been winning, I want to say minus with Dak won it, but the guys in their career that you want to put on that platform, Calais Campbell's going to get in the all-decade team, I believe, and he got one, and now Russ with the Super Bowl and the 10 good years of good play. I want to say over 330 touchdown passes. Touchdown to interception ratio is good. So the numbers are better.
We looking at it's all about his Seattle, and I'm saying
it's all about
Seattle years. Yes, he could be a Hall of Famer, but if he keeps going down his path now with every other team that has long, and he may want to continue to play, and every other stop, he's just going down, 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 down. I think that also have an influence. Because now, you need to stop it. Right now, we still remember you from your Seattle days, but you keep going down these stairs. Yeah, we're gonna be remembering you from your latter days. But we can definitely get into Cam.
I don't think it works the same in football. I think baseball. I think that can hurt you if playing too long because your stats, your RBI, your batting average, all that stuff kind of goes down, and people take a look at that. Your cumulative. But I think the fact that he's got what we just talked about there, I don't think that can be taken away from him.
Yeah, 26. If he has another like 26-8 again, where he had it, and they win more games, I think that'll put him right back in track. But I'm with y'all guys.
I think the Raiders are a playoff team with him. So, Tommy, I don't know what you think about that, but
I can see that
they can flip. They could be certainly a 10-7 or better with him. There.
Yeah, I think we literally was a quarterback away last year. I mean, even when AP took over, a lot of the games we lost was just literally because of how limited O'Connell was at quarterback. And again, he's a rookie. He was kind of thrown to the fire because Jimmy Garoppolo punk ass. But anyways, so you know what I'm saying? I agree with you. It definitely could happen. Like I said, if that defense keep up that intensity that he had them playing at, I mean, a lot of people don't even know we had the number one defense after AP took over. Like the rest of the season. So if that defense can keep that intensity and we get a quarterback that can actually utilize, because we have a lot of weapons on offense. That's the crazy part about it. That's what was so frustrating last year, is especially when Josh McDaniels' punk ass was there. Like, how do you literally phase out Renfro from the offense? He was literally one of the biggest parts of our offense, and you literally phased him out of the offense. It was the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen.
Right.
So, we got Renfro, we got Jacoby Myers, we got Devontae Adams, of course, we got what's my guy from Notre Dame, the tight end that we pulled from Notre Dame. I mean, we literally got weapons at every single spot. We just need somebody that can utilize them, and we'll be a very dangerous team. I mean, we're the last team that beat Kansas City. So.
Well, it
Telling you,
looks like
Ciara on the strip. That's a winner right there.
Yeah, I think
Doc,
she
That'd be like
either had a residency.
that'd be
out
like
there.
the singer from Kansas City. That'll be that effect. The Vegas will make like another 100 million when they're she's.
Well, unfortunately, Dog Sage, we run out of time for the show. But I see your question about. You had a question about baseball. I would love to get that to us. So
Most
if you
definitely.
can, bring it back to us early next week, and we'll definitely get back to us. We already hitting overtime on this particular show, so we're about to get ready to jump on out of here. So I guess, fellas, until next week, peace.
Take care,
Peace.
guys. Have a good one.
Subscribe now.